Is the chief economist for the city of Tshwane. Morning to you, Shaakira.
Morning,
A
David.
big story about property sales in the city of Tshwane. What's happening?
David, the idea of land auctions was initially conceptualized by the executive mayor in 2013. And really, it's not so much about the auctions, but how does government find alternative means of finance? Because the fiscus is never going to be enough. And with considerations of fiscal sustainability at the fore, you know, what's happened in the Eurozone and across the globe, we've been able to learn a lot from that. We are faced with exponentially growing infrastructure demands, a constrained fiscus, the trend of growing urbanization. You know, the NDP predicts that by 2030, 11 million more South Africans will inhabit cities. And we know that with current trends, that is going to occur within Gauteng. So that in addition to already very large infrastructure backlogs, we're going to have increased pressure going into the future. And another thing to note is that the reason we need to find alternative means of financing that doesn't place pressure on already constrained residents or consumers, as you may see.
Well, the danger is that Gauteng just becomes one large block of flats with no open land. But whose land is that? National government, local government? I mean, it's imaginative. We've said for many years that Transnet, the Post Office, Public Works, they own all this land. Surely this can be leveraged and provide revenue, land that isn't being used for anything.
That's exactly it, David. And the land that we're auctioning is owned by the city of Tshwane, and really our intention is to catalyze development within the city. The city is the third largest metro in the globe by land mass. So government is never going to be able to develop all the land that exists in Tshwane. And arguably, we are the single largest jurisdictional area globally. So that you can understand the challenge that we faced within that regard in terms of sprawl and so on. So our aim is to catalyze development, the jobs that are going to be created. We've done development estimations, and the jobs that are going to be created, the investment into the city, the rates that we'll earn through releasing this property, it's really unprecedented.
Now, I want you to give me an estimated revenue amount that you think you're going to get, but the danger with selling off land, and some of the big companies that have ended up with property like Tongaat, Hewlett, places like that, if you sell it all at once, you can depress the prices and maybe there are not enough buyers.
David, that's a very interesting question. The land that we are disposing of, it represents less than 0.05% of Tshwane's total land mass. It represents less than 77% of our total property portfolio, and less than 2% of the city's total assets. So whilst it might seem large what we're releasing, there is a demand in the market, and the response from the public and the response has been unbelievable.
Oh, well, that's encouraging. Give me a ballpark number that you're expecting to raise.
Yes. The minimum amount that we're expecting to raise through this is 500 million rand. The future estimates that we have immediately upon release of this land, the city will earn 3 million rand a month in rates, because that land is vacant. So we're currently not earning any rates on it. But we have developed an incentive scheme that we'll be tabling at council next week to actually, you know, introduce some rates, rebates and so on. But excluding that, then once the land is zoned according to its highest and best use, we've done those estimates, we will earn 18.6 million rand a month. And those are the most conservative estimates.
We'll have to stop there. It's certainly encouraging, and it sounds an imaginative way of using unused land and getting some revenue in an economy that doesn't have much of it. That was Shaakira Karolia. She's the chief economist at the city of Tshwane.